"I've never been kissed," she whispered, her voice trembling as the Giant Lycan King's amber eyes locked onto hers, burning with an intensity that made her heart race. He leaned closer, his massive frame towering over her, and said in a voice like thunder and velvet, "Then let's start slow." But this moment, this breathless, impossible moment, almost never happened. Because just hours before, Elara had been running for her life, bleeding and terrified, with every supernatural creature in existence hunting her down like prey. The sanctuary exploded in blue fire behind her as she stumbled through the dark forest, her white nightgown torn and stained with blood that wasn't hers. The screams of the healers who'd raised her still echoed in her ears, those stern, cold women who'd kept her locked away for 23 years, who'd never let her touch another person, never let her feel the sun on her face for more than an hour a day, never let her ask why. Now she knew why. "Don't let anyone kiss you," the head healer had gasped, her dying breath rattling in her throat as shadow creatures tore through the stone walls. "You're not human. You're the seal. The untouched one. If they claim your first kiss, the world will." She'd died before finishing, and Elara had run. Branches whipped across her face as she crashed through the undergrowth, her lungs burning. Behind her, she could hear them, wolves howling, voices shouting in languages that made her bones ache, the heavy thud of boots on soil. She didn't understand what she was, what they wanted, only that she had to run. Her foot caught on a root and she went down hard, her palms scraping against stone. The river. She'd reached the river at the edge of the forest. Beyond it was open territory, nowhere to hide. "There!" A voice snarled behind her. Elara scrambled to her feet and spun around. 6 of them emerged from the tree line, 3 wolves the size of horses, 2 pale figures with eyes like blood rubies. And something tall and twisted that looked like it was made of living shadow. "The untouched one," the shadow creature hissed, its voice like nails on glass. "After 300 years, finally. 1 kiss, brothers, and godhood is ours." Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from, we'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy werewolf stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. "Please," Elara whispered, backing toward the river. "I don't understand. What do you want from me?" "Your lips, little goddess," one of the vampires laughed, fangs gleaming. "Your first kiss. Your innocence. Everything." The creatures lunged. And then the forest exploded. A roar shook the earth, not a sound, but a force that knocked Elara to her knees and sent waves rippling across the river. The attackers froze, their eyes wide with sudden terror. From the darkness between the trees, something massive emerged. A wolf. But not just a wolf. This creature stood 9 feet tall at the shoulder, its fur silver white like moonlight on snow, its eyes molten gold. Power radiated from it in waves that made the air shimmer and crack. When it breathed, frost formed on the ground. "Run," one of the vampires whispered. They didn't get the chance. The giant wolf moved like liquid lightning. One moment it was at the tree line, the next, its jaws had closed around the shadow creature, and the thing dissolved into nothing with a shriek. The wolves that had been hunting Elara tried to fight back, but they were children compared to this monster. It tore through them with brutal efficiency, a slash of claws here, a snap of jaws there. The vampires tried to flee, but the giant wolf was faster. Within seconds, all 6 attackers were dead or dying. Then those golden eyes turned to Elara. She couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The wolf padded toward her slowly, each step deliberate, its gaze never leaving hers. She should have been terrified. Should have been running. But something in those eyes stopped her, something ancient and sad and unbearably lonely. The wolf stopped 3 feet away. Elara's heart hammered against her ribs. Then the air around the creature shimmered like heat waves, and it began to change. Bones cracked and reformed. Fur receded into skin. The massive frame compressed and shifted, and within seconds a man stood before her. Not just a man. He was easily 7 feet tall, broad-shouldered and powerfully built, with silver white hair that fell to his shoulders and those same molten gold eyes. Scars crisscrossed his chest and arms, a warrior's body, marked by countless battles. He was terrifying and beautiful in equal measure, and when he looked at her, Elara felt something inside her chest pull tight, like an invisible thread connecting her heart to his. "You're safe now," he said, his voice deep and rough. Then he swayed slightly, and Elara saw the blood. His side was torn open, 3 deep gashes that had to be from the fight. "You're hurt," she gasped. "I'll heal." He took a step toward her and stopped, his jaw clenching. "I need to get you somewhere safe. More will come. They can all smell what you are." "What I am?" Elara's voice cracked. "What am I? Why is everyone trying to kill me? Why did they want to kiss you?" The man's eyes flashed, and for a moment she saw the wolf in them. "Because you're the untouched one. A living seal. And your first kiss will break a binding spell that's kept something locked away for 5,000 years. He paused, his gaze intense. "You're also He stopped himself, shook his head. "We need to move. Can you walk? I don't even know your name." "Kieran Nightshade. I'm the Lycan King." He glanced at the tree line, his posture tense. "And right now, I'm the only thing standing between you and every supernatural creature that wants to use you. So please, let me help you." Elara looked at this massive, dangerous stranger who just saved her life. Every instinct told her she should be afraid. But instead, all she felt was that strange pull, like gravity had shifted and he was the center. "Okay," she whispered. Relief flashed across his face. He moved toward her, then hesitated. "I need to carry you. We have to move fast." Is that all right?" Something about the way he asked, careful, respectful, waiting for her permission, made her throat tight. The healers had never asked. They'd simply grabbed her, moved her, controlled her. "Yes," she said. Kieran lifted her as if she weighed nothing, cradling her against his chest. His skin was fever-hot, and beneath her palm she could feel his heart thundering. "Hold on," he murmured, and then he was running. The forest blurred around them. Kieran moved impossibly fast, leaping over fallen logs and streams, his breathing steady despite the speed. Elara clung to him, her face pressed against his shoulder, and tried not to think about how safe she felt in the arms of a man, a wolf, she'd just met. "Where are we going?" she asked. "My territory. The pack lands. It's the most defended place in the supernatural world." He glanced down at her, and something flickered in his eyes. "I promise you, Elara, I will not let anyone harm you." "How do you know my name?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "I know a lot of things I shouldn't. We'll talk when we're safe." They ran through the night, and Elara watched the sky lighten from black to deep blue to the soft pink of dawn. Finally, they broke through the tree line, and she gasped. A massive stone castle rose before them, all dark towers and high walls, surrounded by a sprawling village of wooden buildings. Wolves moved through the streets, some in human form, some in wolf form, all of them stopping to stare as Kieran carried her through the gates. "Your Majesty," a woman called out, running toward them. She was tall and muscular, with short dark hair and amber eyes like Kieran's. "You found her. Thank the gods. Is she?" "She's safe, Mara." Kieran's voice was strained. "Gather the council. We need to." He stumbled, and Elara realized the blood on his side wasn't slowing. It was getting worse. "You're not healing," she said, alarmed. "Why aren't you healing?" "Cursed blades," Mara said grimly, moving to support Kieran's other side. "Your Majesty, you need the healers." "No. Get her to the East Tower first. Post guards. No one goes in or out without my direct order." Kieran looked down at Elara, and she saw the exhaustion in his face. "You'll be safe there. Mara is my beta, my second in command. You can trust her." "What about you?" Elara's hands fisted in his shirt. You're bleeding because of me. I'll be fine. He managed a small smile. I'm harder to kill than I look. Mara took Elara from his arms. She tried to protest, but Kieran was already walking away, blood dripping behind him with every step. Other wolves rushed to support him, and they disappeared into the castle. Come on, Mara said gently. Let's get you cleaned up and fed. You're safe here, I promise. The East Tower room was larger than the entire sanctuary Elara had grown up in. A massive bed dominated one wall, and tall windows looked out over the packlands. Mara helped her wash and brought her clean clothes, soft leather pants and a loose tunic that smelled like pine and winter. I don't understand any of this, Elara said quietly, sitting on the edge of the bed. Yesterday I was just me. I didn't know about supernatural creatures or prophecies or, her voice broke. The healers are dead. Everyone I knew is dead. And I don't even know why. Mara sat beside her, her expression softening. The untouched one. It's an old legend. Every supernatural faction knows it. A virgin sealed on her 23rd birthday, her first kiss holding the power to break an ancient binding spell. She paused. What they probably didn't tell you is what you really are. What do you mean? You're not just a seal, Elara. You're the reincarnated soul of the moon goddess herself, fragmented and made mortal 5,000 years ago after a celestial war. Your first kiss won't end the world, it'll restore your divinity. But whoever claims that kiss will be bound to you eternally, their soul fused with yours. They'll become your immortal consort, or your destroyer if their heart is corrupted. Elara's hand shook. That's why they all want me. That's why they all want you. Every supernatural creature with ambition dreams of godhood. And you're the key. Mara's voice gentled. But Kieran isn't like them. He found you because of the mate bond. The what? It's a shifter thing. When we meet our true mate, we know. The bond forms instantly, this pull, this need. It's fate's way of choosing partners for us. Mara smiled sadly. Kieran felt the bond the second he saw you. You're his mate. Elara's heart stuttered. That pull she'd felt, that strange gravity, it had a name. Does that mean, does he want to kiss me too? No. Mara's voice was firm. Kieran would rather die than force you into anything. He's been alone for 300 years, watching his people slowly lose their wolves, fade into mortality, because of a curse his ancestor made. The only way to break it is with the blood and breath of the untouched one. She met Elara's eyes. Your kiss could save us all. But he won't ask. He won't take. He'll protect you and let you choose, even if it costs him everything. Before Elara could respond, the door burst open. Kieran stood there, his side bandaged, his face pale but determined. Mara, give us the room. His beta left without argument. Kieran closed the door and leaned against it, those gold eyes studying Elara with an intensity that made her skin prickle. You heard, he said. It wasn't a question. The mate bond. Your curse. What I am. Elara stood, her legs unsteady. You saved me because I'm your mate. And because I can save your people. I saved you because those bastards were going to hurt you. His voice was rough. The rest doesn't matter. Doesn't matter? Elara's laugh was bitter. You're dying. Your people are dying. And I could stop it with one kiss. How does that not matter? Because you're not a tool. Kieran pushed off the door, closing the distance between them in 2 long strides. You're a person, Elara. A woman who's been caged and controlled her whole life. And I will be damned if I become another person who uses you. So what? Tears burned her eyes. You'll just let your people die? Let yourself die? If that's what it takes for you to be free, yes. The certainty in his voice broke something inside her. Elara sank back onto the bed, her hands covering her face. I don't know what to do. I don't know anything. I don't understand how any of this works. The bed dipped as Kieran sat beside her, careful to leave space between them. Then let me teach you. She looked up at him. Teach me what? How to choose. His voice was soft. How to understand what you want versus what others tell you to want. How to trust yourself. He hesitated, then added, how to understand desire. Attraction. What it means when your heart races and your skin feels too tight. His eyes met hers. I can teach you all of that, if you want. At your pace. With no expectations. Why would you do that? Because someone should have. Because you deserve to make informed choices. He smiled, sad and beautiful. And because even if you never choose me, I want you to choose something for yourself. Elara's breath caught. The mate bond thrummed between them, electric and alive, but beneath it was something else. Something real. Okay, she whispered. Teach me. Over the next week, Kieran became her constant companion. True to his word, he taught her. They started simple. Holding hands. Feel how our fingers fit together, he murmured, lacing his hand with hers as they walked through the castle gardens. This is choice. You could pull away at any time, and I'd let you. But you're choosing to stay. Elara stared at their joined hands, at the way his rough, scarred fingers wrapped around hers with such careful gentleness. Heat radiated from his palm, and something inside her chest ached. I like it, she admitted. Is that the mate bond? Maybe. Or maybe you just like holding hands. He squeezed gently. The bond might draw us together, but what you feel in any given moment, that's real. That's yours. They progressed to other things. Standing close enough to feel each other's body heat. Kieran teaching her to dance in the empty ballroom, his hand on her waist, her head barely reaching his chest. Let me lead, he murmured, guiding her through the steps. Learn to trust. Learn to follow and to resist. Both are important. She stumbled and he caught her, and for a breathless moment they stood frozen, her hands on his chest, his arms around her waist. Your heart is racing, she whispered. So is yours. His eyes darkened. That's attraction, Elara. That pull when someone is close. When you want them closer. Do you? Want me closer? His jaw clenched. Every second of every day. But we're going slow, remember? Another night, he showed her the sacred tradition of his people, the forehead touch. They sat on the balcony of her tower, the moon full and bright overhead, and Kieran gently pressed his forehead to hers. In my culture, he breathed, his eyes closed, this is soul recognition. It's more intimate than a kiss in some ways. It's saying, I see you. I know you. And I'm letting you see and know me in return. Elara's eyes drifted shut, and she felt it, the bond between them, yes, but also something deeper. The weight of his loneliness, 3 centuries of it. The love he had for his people. The carefully controlled desire he felt for her. And beneath it all, a bone-deep goodness that made her throat tight. I see you, she whispered. Kieran, I see you. His breath hitched, and when he pulled back, his eyes were bright with unshed tears. But it wasn't all tender moments. Elara was also learning to fight. You have power, Mara told her during training sessions in the courtyard. I can smell it on you. You just don't know how to access it yet. What kind of power? The divine kind. Mara grinned. Come on, goddess. Show me what you've got. Elara tried. She really did. But every time she reached for whatever was inside her, she hit a wall. Frustration built until one afternoon she screamed, and the entire courtyard shook. Cracks split the stone. Wolves yelped and scattered. Kieran was there in an instant, his hands on her shoulders. Breathe. Look at me. Breathe. I can't control it, she gasped, tears streaming down her face. What if I hurt someone? What if I? Then we'll figure it out together. He pulled her against his chest, and she felt his heart thundering. "You're not alone in this, Elara. I promise." By the end of the week, something had shifted between them. The bond was still there, but now there was also friendship. Trust. And something that felt dangerously close to love. Late one night, Elara found Kieran on the balcony outside her room. He stood with his back to her, staring at the moon, and even from behind she could see the tension in his shoulders. "Can't sleep?" she asked softly. He turned, and the raw hunger in his eyes nearly knocked her back a step. But he controlled it, smoothing his expression into something calmer. "Just thinking," he said. "About what?" "About how impossible this is." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You're my mate. The one person in the world made for me. And I can't even kiss you without potentially destroying everything." Elara moved to stand beside him, their shoulders almost touching. "Is it torture? The mate bond?" "Yes." His voice was hoarse. "Every moment near you is agony. My wolf wants to claim you, mark you, keep you. And I have to fight it every second because you deserve better than being someone's instinct." "What if I want to be claimed?" His head snapped toward her. "Elara. I'm not saying I'm ready," she said quickly. "But I'm also not saying never. You've taught me so much this week. How to choose. How to trust. How to understand what I feel." She met his eyes. "And what I feel is, I'm falling for you, Kieran. Not because of fate or prophecy. Because of who you are." Kieran's control cracked. He reached for her, then stopped himself, his hand trembling in the air between them. "You don't know what you're saying. The mate bond, it confuses things." "Does it?" Elara caught his hand, pulled it to her chest where her heart was racing. "Then tell me this is the bond. Tell me what I feel right now isn't real." "Elara. I've never been kissed," she whispered. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. "I don't even know if what I feel is real or just this curse." Kieran's eyes closed, his jaw clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping. When he opened them again, the wolf was there, golden, wild and barely controlled. "Then let's start slow," he said, his voice rough as gravel. "Let me teach you the difference between magic and choice. Between destiny and desire. And when you're ready, if you're ever ready, you'll choose for yourself. Even if you don't choose me." He pulled her closer, and Elara's breath caught. His other hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing her cheekbone with heartbreaking gentleness. "This is choice," he murmured. "Right now, in this moment. You can step back and I'll let you go. Or you can stay, and we can see what this feels like. What we feel like." Elara stayed. Kieran leaned down slowly, giving her every opportunity to pull away, and pressed the softest kiss to her forehead. Then her temple. Her cheek. Each touch featherlight, reverent, asking rather than taking. "Tell me to stop," he breathed against her skin. "Please, Elara, if this is too much. Don't stop." His control shattered. Not into force or aggression, but into desperate tenderness. His arms wrapped around her, pulling her flush against him, and his forehead pressed to hers in that sacred gesture he'd taught her. "I love you," he whispered, the words breaking. "Gods help me, I love you. Not because of the bond. Because you're brave and kind and fierce. Because you choose compassion even when the world has given you every reason to choose cruelty. Because you're you." Elara's hands fisted in his shirt. "Kieran." The castle alarm bells exploded into sound. Kieran jerked back, his entire body going rigid. From below, they heard screams. Roars. The clash of steel and the snarl of wolves in battle. "No," Kieran breathed. "Not now. Not when we're so close to." "Kieran." Mara's voice bellowed from below. "It's a full-scale attack. All sides. They have," her voice cut off in a yelp of pain. Kieran's eyes met Elara's, and she saw the agony there. Stay here. Lock the door. Don't come out for anyone but me. What's happening? They're coming for you. All of them. Every faction, every creature that wants godhood. He cupped her face one last time. I will die before I let them take you. I swear it. Then he was gone, his body blurring and shifting as he leaped from the balcony. Elara ran to the edge and watched as the massive silver wolf hit the courtyard and tore into the invading forces. There were so many of them. Vampires and rival wolf packs and creatures she didn't have names for, all pouring through breached gates. Kieran's pack fought valiantly, but they were outnumbered. And then she saw him. A man who looked almost exactly like Kieran, same height, same build, but with darker hair and eyes like chips of ice. He moved through the battle untouched, and when he smiled, Elara's blood went cold. Brother, he called out, his voice carrying over the chaos. Did you really think you could keep her from me? Kieran shifted back to human form, blood streaming from a dozen wounds. Darius. You're supposed to be dead. Dead? Darius laughed. Oh, little brother. I've been very much alive. Waiting. Planning. I engineered all of this, the curse on our people, the prophecy, even her escape from that sanctuary. Every piece moved exactly where I needed it. His smile widened. And now I'll take what's mine. Like hell. Kieran lunged, and the brothers collided with a force that cracked the stones beneath them. They fought with brutal efficiency, fists and claws and fangs, each trying to kill the other. But Darius had been planning this for centuries. While Kieran fought him, other attackers slipped past, heading for the tower. For Elara. She tried to lock the door like Kieran had said, but it burst open before she could reach it. 3 vampires poured in, their eyes hungry. There you are, little goddess, one purred. Come quietly and we won't have to hurt you. I'm not going anywhere with you. Wasn't a request. They lunged, and Elara screamed. Power exploded from her, raw, uncontrolled, divine. The vampires flew backward, their bodies slamming into the walls hard enough to crack stone. But more were coming. Always more. Elara ran. She made it to the stairs before they caught her, dragging her back by her hair. She fought and screamed and felt her power surge again, but there were too many. They bound her hands with chains that burned, and started dragging her toward the courtyard. Toward Darius. Kieran, she screamed. He was still fighting his brother, both of them bloodied and exhausted. But when he heard her voice, his head snapped up. Their eyes met across the chaos. And Darius smiled. Goodbye, brother, he said softly, and drove a silver blade straight through Kieran's heart. Time stopped. Kieran's eyes went wide, blood bubbling from his lips. He looked at Elara, and she saw everything in his gaze, love and regret and a desperate apology. Then he fell. No. Elara's scream shattered windows. Her power exploded outward in a shockwave that knocked everyone to their knees. The chains on her wrists melted, and she was running, stumbling, crawling toward where Kieran lay in a spreading pool of blood. She fell to her knees beside him, her hands pressing against the wound in his chest. No, no, no. Please. Kieran, please don't leave me. His hand came up, weak and trembling, to touch her face. Sorry, he whispered, blood staining his teeth. Wanted to give you, choice. Wanted, he coughed, more blood. I love. His hand fell. His eyes went dark. The great silver wolf, the Lycan King, the man who'd taught her to choose, was dead. And something inside Elara broke. Get up, Darius's voice came from behind her. Your turn, goddess. One kiss, and I become a god. You become mine. Forever. Elara looked down at Kieran's body. At the man who'd loved her enough to die for her. Who'd given her choice when everyone else had tried to take it away. And she finally understood. Love wasn't fate. It wasn't destiny or bonds or prophecy. Love was sacrifice. It was choosing someone even when it cost everything. It was freedom given, not taken. She looked up at Darius, and when she spoke, her voice was steady. You want my first kiss? That's all I've ever wanted. Then you've already lost. Elara leaned down and pressed her lips to Kieran's. The world exploded into light. Power erupted from her in waves, pure and divine and infinite. Her body lifted from the ground, glowing like a star, and Elara felt herself transforming. Her hair turned silver white, flowing like liquid moonlight. Her eyes became galaxies, swirling with stars. Wings of pure light unfurled from her back. The moon goddess had returned. And beneath her, impossibly, Kieran gasped. The wound in his chest sealed. Color flooded back into his face. His eyes opened, still gold, but now touched with silver starlight. The curse shattered, and all around the courtyard, his pack felt their wolves surge back to full strength. Kieran rose, and he was transformed too. Taller, more powerful, his body radiating divine energy. Their souls had fused, just like the prophecy said. He'd become her immortal consort, and she'd given him a piece of her godhood. Together, they turned to face Darius. He was screaming, rage and disbelief twisting his features. No. It's not possible. I had everything planned. You were supposed to. I chose, Elara said simply. Her voice echoed with power, with certainty. And I chose him. Darius charged. He never stood a chance. Elara and Kieran moved as one, perfectly synchronized. She commanded the light, and he commanded the shadows. Together, they were unstoppable. Within seconds, Darius was on his knees, his body disintegrating into ash. You can't, he gasped. I'm your blood. Your family. You were my brother, Kieran said quietly. But you stopped being family the day you chose power over everything else. Darius crumbled to nothing. The battle was over. The surviving attackers fled or surrendered, and silence fell over the courtyard. Every supernatural creature present, wolf, vampire, fae, and more, fell to their knees, bowing before the reborn goddess and her consort. But Elara didn't care about any of that. She descended until her feet touched the ground, her wings folding behind her, and reached for Kieran. You came back, she whispered, her hands cupping his face. You chose me. His voice was rough with emotion. Even when I was dead. Even when you could have chosen anyone or anything. You chose me. I'll always choose you. They stood in the ruins of the battlefield, holding each other, and the bond between them sang. Not with compulsion or fate, but with love freely given. If you've made it this far, you've witnessed something special. Drop a like if you're Team Kieran, and comment which moment made your heart race the most. Subscribe so you never miss another epic love story like this one. 3 weeks later, the kingdom had been rebuilt. The supernatural world had settled into an uneasy peace under the goddess's rule, and life had found a new rhythm. Elara stood on the balcony of their shared chambers, not the tower where she'd been kept, but rooms they'd chosen together. The moon was full and bright, and she could feel its power singing in her veins. Arms wrapped around her from behind, and Kieran's chin rested on top of her head. Penny for your thoughts, he murmured. Just thinking about how far we've come. She leaned back against him. A month ago, I'd never been kissed. Never been touched. Never been free. Any regrets? She turned in his arms, looking up at the man, the wolf, the king, the consort, who'd given her everything by refusing to take anything. Not a single one. Her fingers traced the line of his jaw. I'm exactly where I want to be. Even though you're stuck with me for eternity now? The whole soul fusion thing is pretty permanent. Especially because of that. She smiled. I choose you, Kieran Nightshade. Every day, for the rest of forever, I choose you. His eyes flashed gold. And I choose you, Elara. My mate. My goddess. My choice. When he kissed her this time, the second kiss, but the first one that didn't come with transformation and power and world-altering magic, it was soft and sweet and perfectly them. A kiss between equals, between partners, between two people who'd found each other against impossible odds and decided to stay. They pulled apart slowly, and Kieran pressed his forehead to hers in that gesture that had come to mean everything. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" "For teaching me that destiny can be chosen. That fate is only real if we let it be. That love, real love, is always a choice." Elara smiled against his lips. "We taught each other." They stood together under the moon, wrapped in each other's arms, and wrote their own story. Not one dictated by prophecy or curses or the expectations of others, but one built on choice and trust and love that had been earned, moment by moment, day by day. Somewhere in the distance, wolves held their approval, and the moon shone a little brighter. "Before you go, I need your help with something. If you don't like, comment, share, and subscribe right now. It means you're Team Darius, the guy who tried to force Elara into godhood slavery and murdered his own brother. You wouldn't support someone like that, would you? Of course not. So hit that like button to stand against Darius's tyranny, drop a comment telling us your favorite scene, share this story with someone who loves epic romance, and subscribe so you never miss another tale. Plus, turn on those notifications because next week's story is even more intense. Don't be like Darius. Be like Kieran. Make the right choice. And remember, true love is always a choice. Make yours count. Until next time, keep believing in love that's worth fighting for.